Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to the Wyoming Knits YouTube channel. My name is Jenny Lee and this is my channel where I like to talk about all the things that I've been knitting on over the past week. Today is Sunday, July 12th, 2026 and this is episode 147. You can find me on Instagram as Jenny Lee Knits and you can find me on Ravelry as Jenny Lee S Knits. And today I'm coming to you from a beautiful sunny southwest Wyoming where I live with my husband, our daughter, and our little Yorkie, Dax. It sounds like my husband just got home from riding his dirt bike. Him and my daughter went out and she's out there with her friends now. So you can probably hear him in the background. I gotta give a big shout out to Megan. It was her birthday on Friday. Happy birthday, Megan. Let's start with what I am wearing today. Today I'm wearing the Tolsta Tee by Rebecca Clow. She's a Crayabea. This is a, I want to say linen alpaca blend. I got it from the Yarn in the Tail a couple of years ago. It was discontinued at her yarn shop. I don't know if they still make this, but my project page will be linked in the description box below with the yarn that I used, the size that I made, and all of the information on that. This is really easy to make. You start with your ribbing and then you go into your raglan, you split for sleeves, you knit the body, you do a 1x1 rib on the bottom, come back and knit just a little bit more on your sleeve and then ribbing and cast off. So it is a quick knit. I think she has this in a DK weight and fingering weight. It is nice in the summer if you use like a cotton or bamboo blend, but it's just nice and light. Let's jump in with finished objects. I have 2 finished objects today and some works in progress that I want to show you. Let's start with the first one. I had these last week. I was working on them. I was on the second sock last time and about halfway through the leg. I finished the leg and the foot. I think on Tuesday I finished these. So the day after I recorded, I did vanilla socks on 9-inch circulars by the Crazy Sock Lady. I started with 64 stitches with a German twisted cast on. I did a 2x2 ribbed cuff for 20 rounds. I did 70 rounds for the leg, slip stitch heel flap that's in the pattern, knit it to fit a size 7.5 foot, and then I did the toe in the pattern. So those are super simple, easy. So that's the first one. I got my 4th of July socks done after the 4th of July, but I will have these to wear all July and next year. I do wear my hand knit socks all year round. I don't find that they make my feet too hot, but my daughter says they make her feet too hot. So she told me, Mom, don't make me any more socks, just sweaters. And she loves her Strya. She wore it all day. One of the days a couple of weeks ago, and she asked, hey, you got that much leftovers left? And I said, yeah. She says, will you make me like a pullover sweater in the same pattern? And I said, yeah. So I think I'm going to make her the birch pullover and then just use the striping sequence from the Strya to do that, because she loves that sweater. My next finished object is my slice of summer socks. I got them finished. I was right here on the first sock last time, and I finished the foot, cast on the second one, and finished these this morning. I was 5 rows away from the toe this morning, so I finished those 5 rows and did the toe. It's got this fun, this is called the knot stitch, K-N-O-T. I did 64 stitches with a German twisted cast on. I did 8 rounds of ribbing, and then I did 4 rounds of the pattern with the stockinette on the back. Then I did the slip stitch hill that called for it in the pattern, and then I think I did a different toe than what the pattern says. I did the toe from the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla socks because that's just the toe that I do every time. So those are finished. I love them. I'm going to be able to wear them this week. Is there anything else about these? My project page will be linked in the description box below with the size. This is a Lamb Woman Knits yarn. She is no longer dyeing yarn. It did not have a colorway name. Her Etsy shop is now closed, so I'm just trying to use up some of it. This was a 50 gram, and I do have a little bit left over to put in my Cozy Memories blanket. So that was all my finished objects. Let's talk about my works in progress. So my first one is living in this bag. Excuse me. This is a bag I got from Happy Mermaid Yarn Co. a few years ago. It came with some yarn. Don't think they have this bag in their shop, but they do have, I think they do have some similar bags. And I'm using Hypnotic Yarnable in the Cinnful Delight color. This was a November 2023 yarn, and this is the color. I'm doing the String of Lights pattern, and I finished the first sock. So I did 64 stitches, 2x2 ribbed cuff, 60 rounds for the leg, slip stitch heel flap. This is not the heel called for in the pattern. I just always substitute the one from the vanilla socks from the Crazy Sock Lady pattern. And then I did the toe. And I have, oh, my yarn's all tangled around everything. I do use magic loop when I do the toe, but I do all of my socks, 90%, 99% of my socks on 9-inch circulars. These are Chowgu red lace size 0, and I've just started the cuff. So these will get worked on this week. Any of the bag shops I mention or the yarn shops that I mention will be linked in the description box below with the pattern, with the project they are associated with in the video. You may see a little pop-up over here with affiliate links. Those do give me a couple cents if you click on the link and purchase something from them. It does not cost you any more, but YouTube has the new thing where it just pops up over here, and most of the time it puts in the link before I can go in and put it in while I'm uploading my videos. So it'll already say, oh, we already tagged that for you. So that is this sock, and those are all the socks I worked on this week. The next thing I worked on is my Gramercy Tee. This is in a bag I got at the Great Basin Fiber Arts Festival. I don't think she has a shop online. I could not find anything. I'm using, let's see, Dragon Hoard yarn in the colors Terrasen and Highland. This is on her Nixie Sport base. And the Gramercy Tee is by Tori Yu. And this is the back. Okay, here's the front. So it's got the stripes, the saddle shoulder, back. This is a V-neck, and I was right here last time. I've done just a little bit of work. I think I've decided I don't like breaking the yarn and switching colors. I like the stripe sequence. I like how it has stripes on it. I'm not really a big stripe fan anyway, but I do like the stripes on this. I just think I don't like where you have to break the yarn and reconnect. It always looks just a little funky where you change colors or add new yarn. My tension is never quite the same in that area, so I think that's why I haven't worked on it very much. I think my fingernail is snagging on my yarn. It is. So that's why this one didn't get a lot of work this week. I'm hoping to work on it more in a couple of weeks. Then I worked on this project. This is a California sweater in my Miaka bag that I got from the Yarn and the Tail. I am using Lovejoy fibers. She's got a Surrey alpaca and fingering weight. I kicked up the next two balls. This one is Lavender Heather, and this one is, no, Lavender Haze and Opal Haze. This has sparkle in it. I don't know if you can see the sparkle. I worked on this until I ran out of the first ball of Surrey. I think I'm going to leave the fingering weight connected to the bottom and do my sleeves, and then come back and do the rest. I think I only have 2 to 3 inches left. I think just 2 inches left on the body before I start the ribbing, but I want to make sure I have enough Surrey because she only had 2 of these when I went to the Great Basin Fiber Arts Festival, and I bought the only 2 she had, so I don't want to run out and not have enough for the sleeves. So I'm going to do the sleeves next. I just haven't connected them. I'm like, I don't want to do that right now. I don't want to do that right now. So I'm going to connect the sleeves and work on those hopefully this week. And they're just easy. This is knit on a size 10.5mm needle. So it's very loose and open, but it will be so warm. It'll be something I can wear in the fall. This is the California sweater by Knit California, who is Leslie Forrester. Knitting the second size. I think it will be in my project page. All of the project pages will be linked. So that is that one. And then last night I decided I want to work on what I want to work on. I've been working on all of the things over the summer. I've got it in my head that I have too many whips going because I have 15 right now, and I keep thinking 15 is a very large number to have 15 whips. It'll go between 15 and like 20 back and forth depending on how many socks and how many sweaters I have going. But the bulk of that is my my blankets, and I know those are going to take a long time. I know I need to work on some of them, but then I look at like how many works in progress I have that are just socks and sweaters. I don't have any other accessories. I don't have any shawls. I don't have any hats. I just have socks and sweaters. I have 2 sock whips right now, and 3 sweater whips. So I cast on another sweater. So I have 4 sweater whips and 2 sock whips. That's only 6 projects. So I decided to cast on another sweater. I grabbed this Sassy Sacks and my loops and threads that I got. This is their Skyscape, and the color just says purple and green multi. So I grabbed this one and I cast on the Monday sweater last night. And that's inside out. I had been working on, I got through the short rows. So you cast on for your collar. So I looked at the pattern, and for the size that I'm making the second size, which is a size small. It said to cast on 106 stitches. So I looked at that, dropped my bag. I looked at that and I said, okay, 106. So I got my, when I measure, I hold the yarn out, like, I'll hold it like this, and from the end of my finger to right here is about 60 cast on stitches. And so I did that twice, and I was like, okay, that should work. That's 120. That'll give me a long enough tail that I can weave in. And I started casting on, and I got to 140, and I only had a little bit left, and I was like, well, that's not going to get me to 160 stitches. So I pulled it all out, went a little bit further, started casting on, got to 160 stitches, started my ribbing, got 1.5 rounds of ribbing done, and I looked at the pattern again because I was like, 160 stitches, that's a lot of stitches on my needle. Okay, I looked at the pattern again, 106 stitches, not 160 stitches. So I ripped it all out, cast on again, cast on 106 stitches, did my ribbing for, you do half the amount of rounds of ribbing, then you do like the setup row for the tubular bind off, and then you do your other half, and then you knit your cast on edge together with your working yarn, but you only knit every other stitch together with your cast on. So you'll knit you knit the first knit stitch with the, you follow you follow this around and you pick up that stitch, and then you knit the next stitch, and then so you're only knitting together every other stitch, so it still stays stretchy. I think this is the pattern that I learned that from. Whenever I go and do a folded over, I always do every other stitch together. So I'll have one plain knit stitch in between that I don't knit together with the cast on or the picked up stitches. When you go back and you pick up your stitches for your collar and then fold it over. So I did that. So I did my collar, and then it said to do the short rows. So I've done this much on the back, and then I am ready to work the rest of the raglan increases in the round. So I'll have to go back and look at that. I think I like the way that's working up. We'll have to see when it gets a little further. I might decide, I don't like that, and rip it all out. And that's okay, because it's my knitting and I get to do whatever I want. If I don't like it, I can turn it into a blanket, because that would be a fun blanket too, with a bigger size needle. I don't know. So that got cast on yesterday, and because I didn't work on my blankets very much last week, I really got a lot done on both of my blankets that I'm currently trying to get some work on. My honeycomb blanket and my scrap witchery blanket. So I'll show you the scrap witchery one first. This is a pattern by Sock Witchery. It is a half fisherman's rib. Okay, I was right here last time, and I've done just a few more rows. I have my 2 magic cakes going, and then I just have it in this little cube square, I guess, that you put in your cubes, the little tote. So I've been working on this. Last time I showed this, someone had asked about the difference between the 2 I-cords. The I-cord in the pattern is when you are casting on, you're casting on and putting your stitches on the needle using an I-cord cast on. So you're making the I-cord and putting your live stitches on your needle at the same time. I found that that really stretched out between the I-cord and the first stitch. In the pattern there is a link to a video tutorial about how to do the I-cord cast on, and when you do the I-cord cast on, it stretches out this first row of stitches. Right? Oh no, it's this edge. I was like, you can't see it like you did last time, but this, see how this stitch is a lot bigger than this stitch underneath it, a lot longer, and I can, so this was the I-cord cast on, and it elongates the stitches and this is the knit an I-cord and then come back and pick up your stitches. So there is no elongation of the stitches. So I had a question on that last time. I will see if I can find that video and link it so you can see the difference between the two. But I really did not like the I-cord cast on. I thought that the stitches were way too long after you started going back and forth. And I did a little bit of research to see if there was any way you could make them shorter. But the couple of videos I found said that if you don't want those elongated stitches, it's better to create an I-cord and then go back and pick up your stitches rather than doing the I-cord cast on. And so I think I'll just do that anytime I want to do an I-cord beginning, make the I-cord, then go back and pick up the stitches instead of casting on and doing an I-cord at the same time. I did not like the way that looked. My last project that I'm going to show you today is my Painting Honeycombs blanket by Stephen West. I did quite a bit of work on this week. I was right down here last time, and I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 honeycombs this week. So if I put this on the floor, right now it goes up to about my waist. I want it to go up to at least here. So I am making this small size width-wise. I cast on the number of stitches for the small size for the width, but I am doing the amount of honeycomb repeats for the large size, so it is taller, so it's more like a throw blanket. So I'm working on that. I have my tags, the yellow for the main color. I'm using Pound of Love in the color Honeybee, and the background color I'm using Big Scoop in the color Tutti Frutti. So this one is Honeybee and this one is Tutti Frutti. And they're just in this tote bag that I got. There is no shop to link for that one. And that is all of the projects I worked on this week. It was a much quieter week. I didn't have to really go anywhere. I was able to stay home and just do like the errands that I do throughout the week most of the time. Groceries, dinner, cleaning the house, all of that stuff. I didn't have to travel anywhere. Tomorrow starts my mom's first round of radiation, and so I will be driving back and forth to take her to that all week. So I think I'm going to work on a lot of socks this week. I don't think I'll take the blankets or anything with me because I don't know how long it's going to take. We'll see. We'll see what happens the first couple of days, and then I might be able to judge how long that I'll be sitting there just waiting. I will be driving, so there will not be any knitting time during the drive. And I think that's all for this week. Remember the Wyoming Yarn Crawl. Stop by your local yarn store and support them. I will be casting on a couple more pairs of socks this week. Maybe casting on a couple more sweaters this week. Because why not? They won't get worked on if you don't cast them on. And there was at least 3 sweaters, 4 more sweaters that I wanted to work on this summer, and we are halfway through July. I will be going back to my classroom mid-August, so I have about a month left of summer. Probably try to go back into my classroom a little bit earlier to get all my desks set up and do some decluttering and rearranging of where I put my supplies. I've been watching a lot of decluttering, organizing videos this summer just on YouTube, and I think the way I have some of the supplies in my classroom, they were in there before I moved in, and so I just left them there, and this cabinet was open, so I just shoved stuff in there, and this cabinet didn't have stuff in it, so I shoved stuff in there, and this had some stuff, and this had some stuff, and this had some stuff, and I've just been like, well, this has this kind of stuff, I'll just shove this kind of stuff in there. But I think I want to zone my cabinets into all of our consumable supplies like pencils, erasers, markers, whiteboard markers, glue sticks, all of that stuff in one area, so I can just go there instead of, oh yeah, where did I put the glue sticks? Oh yeah, where are the scissors? Oh yeah, that's in that other cabinet, and that's in that cabinet clear over there. So when it's time to put my supplies together for the kids, they're all in one area. Or I can say go get, and it's all in one area. So I've been thinking about all of that this summer and what I want to do. I have all sorts of stuff that I need to do to get ready for the school year. So I've been thinking about that a lot. So that's all the knitting stuff, all the life stuff, and I will see you again next Sunday. Until then, happy knitting.